So last night the Minnesota Timberwolves decided no sweep, maybe a gentleman's sweep, but they outplay the Dallas Mavericks. And it should be pointed out, and I think this is more than just a little thing with what took place last night, that the Mavericks, if you don't have one of the best young rim protectors in the NBA, things just feel different, right? They just feel different. And last night, the Mavericks, and it's a different lineup. Different lineup when you don't have Dereck Lively in. Lively has been so incredibly effective, especially in the playoffs. And I know he doesn't average as many blocks as Daniel Gafford does, but he affects shots, as well as the fact that offensively he's a better roller to the hoop, and they basically split most of the game. But we're not making excuses. They wouldn't want us to make excuses, and I would guess he'll be back for Game 5, right? Game 5 in Minnesota. And in reality, even though Luka and Dallas have won twice in Minnesota, there does become the chance of Game 6 in Dallas being a pressure-filled game. Right? Anthony Edwards finally gave us a glimpse of what we thought we were watching with Anthony Edwards dominant previously. Karl-Anthony Towns played really, really well. He had 25, made 4 threes. Jay McDaniels was also outstanding, and they got a little bit more production off the bench. Meanwhile, Dallas, Luka struggled shooting the basketball. So much so that Luka actually accepted blame for the loss. Take a listen.
That game is on me. Just didn't give enough energy, so we got to do better. They won one game. We just got to focus on the next one. We won 3 games. It's first, like I said, it's first to 4. No matter if you win in 4 or in 7, you just got to win 4.
All this is in fact true. All you got to do is win basketball games, and the rest takes care of itself. I do think we sit here and go, has there been a game? It felt like Game 3, Luka hitting that gigantic shot, and he's hit other shots. You're like, oh, this is a Luka game. No, he has the ability to win one by himself, or it feels like by himself. And if we use even the Oklahoma City series as a guide, I believe it was Game 4 of that one where he missed one of 2 free throws when they were down 2, took the blame for himself, just like shooting the ball poorly, 7 of 21, he took the blame on himself as well. But, look, it gives us at least one more game so we don't have as much time off away from the NBA. It creates at least a little bit of doubt in your head if you like the Mavericks and you don't have to think, oh, okay, it's just a walk in the park. And it's huge for the reputation of Karl-Anthony Towns, which had taken a beating because of his play and some of his reactions. I thought Jason Kidd had something really smart to say. Here's Jay Kidd on how hard it is to close out playoff series.
Understand what, if we won this game, we do close it out, but it's hard to close in this league. And so understanding that we didn't play our best, give Minnesota credit, they did. And so we're headed to Minnesota tomorrow and to play Game 5.
It is hard. It's hard. We see this in baseball. Hard to get those final 3 outs. Last night I went to Brewers Cubs. And by the way, that was pretty cool that you were watching the game there, Jay Stu, as we were texting. The Cubs had a rookie pitcher throw 7 innings of no-hit ball. He threw 93 pitches, and they pulled him to start the 8th inning. He was throwing, and I know no-hitters don't mean anything, but I haven't thrown a no-hitter in Major League Baseball. Have you? So in an effort to protect him, they pulled him. Anyway, the point is that the Cubs blew the save in the 9th inning because no matter how, even if you try and convince yourself 27 outs, all those outs are the same, for whatever reason, those last 3 outs are a lot harder to get. They just are. So 1-0 game. The Astros hadn't had a hit the entire game, and they break through in the bottom of the 9th inning and score a run. They'd get thrown out at second base, then lose in extra innings. And if you watch baseball, you know that, yeah, it's 24 difficult outs. Then those last three, completely different level of difficulty. The same thing in the NBA playoffs where you say, hey, to get to those 3 wins, really hard. To get that 4th win. Now, some teams lay down. But the Timberwolves are too young, too energetic, too full of hope to actually lay down. Olden Polynice is our next guest. Of course, he's our Fox Sports Radio NBA analyst. He played 15 years in the NBA. And Olden, thanks so much for taking time. What are your thoughts on what changed between the Mavericks and the Wolves last night, letting the Wolves get their first win?
Well, it was a couple of things. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns finally played like the all-star that he is, and that made a huge difference. He knocked down shots. I've been saying this, and others have said it for the last 77 years. This game is about makes and misses. That's it in a nutshell. The same shots he had Game 3 he missed, he made in Game 4. Anthony had to start off great, played well. But I do believe that Dallas truly, truly missed Dereck Lively. That young man, his energy and the way he plays, it's a big, big difference. And they sorely missed that. Kleber came back, but he's not Dereck Lively. He was even afraid to shoot 3-pointers. And so to me, he wasn't moving well. He just wasn't comfortable. I think that was a big blow to the Mavericks. So I'm sure they're going to bring him back since it's only a neck sprain, But I like how they did that, Doug. They didn't classify it as a concussion. They said it was a neck sprain.
Yeah, they said it was a neck sprain, sure. It's Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. That's the voice of Olden Polynice. I'm with you. I mean, you get that level of rim protection and length, and it allows all those guys to get beaten defensively and still defend that rim, and it just changes the game. Okay, so assuming he's back, any cause for concern if you're Dallas and your ability to close out this series?
I don't believe so. I mean, 3-0 is hard to overcome. And, I mean, it would be a first, but I doubt we're going to have any firsts in this series. I think Dallas, if they don't close them out in Minnesota, they're going to close them out at home because they can ill afford to go back for Game 7. Even though we've had 4 of them, gone to Game 7 as recently as last year, but I don't think Dallas wants any part of a Game 7 in Minnesota. That's going to be too much pressure on those guys.
It's Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. What about the Celtics? How do they match up with the Mavericks?
I like the matchup for the Mavericks, because they have guys that can defend. And so to me, that's what it's going to come down to. I mean, the stars are going to do their thing. Kyrie and Luka and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And, and the X factor is going to be if Porzingis is able to play, because he's their rim protector. But at the same time, I just believe that the energy that the big men have, they're going to overcome Al Horford's. He's on his last leg. He's playing well for him, knocking down threes, but he's still on his last leg. And I think a young Dereck Lively and a young Daniel Gafford, it's going to be too much for him to overcome. So I'm going to give, if it does end up being Dallas, which I believe it will, I'm giving the advantage to Dallas because they just have too much size for Boston.
They do. It's Doug Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. Yeah, I think the rim protection, and then honestly, I trust Luka and maybe even Kyrie more than the other two.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Kyrie's a professional closer, and Luka has never met a shot he didn't like or want to take. His confidence level is on a 250 out of 20. And so, it's just, he's insane with that, sometimes to his own detriment. But I just believe that they are the smarter of the two teams, and it's not I don't want it to be derogatory, but between the two, I think they'll do more beneficial things for the team as opposed to Boston. Boston has been living and dying by that three-pointer.
Sure. And
some days they don't show up. I mean, the three-pointers don't go down. But that's their game. That's their whole game plan. And you got to remember also, they've had a nice little comfortable run in the Eastern Conference right now with all the injuries to stars and other teams. They're kind of like, of course, you got to play the teams that are put in front of you. But You know, it would have been different if it was New York or Milwaukee with a healthy Giannis. You know, things would have changed. So we just don't know. But they're here now in the finals. So, but I'm giving the advantage to the Dallas Mavericks.
It's the Gottlieb Show here on Fox.
Get there.
It's the Gottlieb Show here on Fox Sports Radio. LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, wants us to believe he's a free agent. There have been some talk of Phoenix being in the mix. Do you buy that LeBron would leave the Lakers?
I'm only buying it because if Rich Paul says he's a free agent, then he's a free agent. Whether he leaves or not, you know, it's going to be based on, again, like he said, his son. I think he was definitely 100 on that one. It's like it's going to be contingent on where my son goes. And I'm not mad at him for, you know, using the full power that he has of nepotism and everything else. It is what it is, you know. And so he wants to play with his son, and he's going to put pressure on the Lakers. You want me to re-sign? Hey, you got draft picks. Use it on Bronny. And if it's Phoenix, then he's going to end up there. I believe he is wholehearted, adamant about it, and he's ready to make that move. He's done it before, so it won't be new. It's not like he's been with one franchise for his whole career, so he's bounced around.
I know, but it's like, how to express it? It's like he's not leaving with, he's got one in high school, one in elementary school. He just built a gigantic house in Beverly Hills. Like, he's not going anywhere.
Well, he had those same things in Cleveland, in Miami, in Cleveland.
Yeah, but he's also you know, they make movies. He's into the scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's the reason he came to LA was for life after basketball. But again, his son is key in this whole thing.
Has anybody pulled him aside and say, "Hey, he can't play"? What do we do? Like he can't play.
The kid can play.
No, he can't. He's not an NBA player. He's not an NBA player.
No,
Olden, like, listen, he wasn't one of the 10 best high school players in his high school league. He wasn't capable of starting at USC this year. When he did start, they were awful. Okay? He's not. When I say he can't play, it doesn't mean he can't walk and chew gum. He can't play basketball. He's not an NBA player.
Okay,
so
that's two different things from what I was saying.
No, but I'm talking about like
he can't play.
I'm talking about basketball guy to basketball guy.
Okay,
everybody else sitting there going like, he can't play. Come on, man.
You know, one of the things that I had a problem with, and I'm going to give the kid all the benefit of the doubt. I wish him well, but I didn't like how he was moving when he was shooting those jump shots in the combines. I'm like, where's the energy level? You're not going to play like that in a regular game. You will never move that slow in a basketball game.
I don't think he's an NBA player. I don't think it's really particularly close. And determining how you finish your historically great career based upon who will leverage the Lakers to drafting him just seems silly. Like
well,
the Lakers
it is going to be, but it happens in all walks of life. You know, the father
question.
has a business, the son takes over, and all that. So I get all that, and I listen. LeBron likes doing a lot of firsts. He wants to be the first basketball player to ever play with his son, because none of us had ever had that opportunity. Nobody, not Jordan, not Magic, nobody. He will be the only one to ever do it, and I don't think anyone ever will again.
Probably not. Because
that longevity speaks volume.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. His longevity is amazing. He's the one and only Olden Polynice. Oh, I got to ask you, Ty Lue gets a huge deal with the Clippers. Do you approve?
I approve. I mean, he wasn't going to go anywhere. That money was too good. I mean, other teams wanted him, so the Clippers knew to lock him in. So it's a good deal for them. He knows the team. They know him. They just got to figure out what they're going to do with Kawhi and Paul George. I mean, that experiment died a long time ago. You know, they got to figure all that out. And I'm not even going to touch on James Harden. But the Kawhi Leonard experiment, and I need Paul George, that really crippled the team.
No question. And the fact that Kawhi can't seem to stay healthy, but they're all on Team Kawhi. Let's see if they're all on Paul George as well.